Alright, Shalom. Call all y'all about Shin Shah. I just want to go in on a few topics on this video about how these Edomites have been exposing each other. And ultimately, it's Yahweh Shin Shah putting the spirit on them to do so. Now, it's in the book of Psalms, chapter 64, verse 8, it says, "So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away." And that's what's going on right now. All these other countries that's been doing business with the U.S., they want to split. That's why you had a Brexit. And there's some other names they got for them too. I can't think of them right now. But that's like one of the main things that's been in the headlines. They want to split. They don't want to be a part of none of this other stuff with the European nations and so on and so on. But let this video play a little bit. I'm gonna go into some more stuff about these battles and these skirmishes that's going over in Israel right now. Because they just shot some more missiles over there. And I was looking at some stuff from like 2 days ago. And they basically been threatening each other like, if you do this, we're gonna do this. And what type of retaliation and daring them to do so. So I'm gonna let the video play and I'll go into some more scriptures.
Treat a political prisoner. There is one reason for this. Julian and WikiLeaks have performed an historic public service by giving millions of people facts on why and how their governments deceive them secretly and often illegally, why they invade countries, why they spy on us.
Yeah, who the main people to do this though? You know, you got these other countries too, like these other areas like Germany, England, you know, other places, France. You know, the little small Edomite countries. But who's the main? What's the main country, I should say, where the most Edomites reside at? It's over here in America. That's what we're talking about. And Julian Assange, when they was doing this stuff on WikiLeaks, they was exposing a lot of stuff. And you can't get around this, man. You can't make this up. Like the scripture says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And it got different translations into it, you know. And the reason why I was talking about the tongue, because that's what's going on. You got people exposing stuff. Like the guy, Jeffrey, I want to say Epstein or whatever. He was about to expose a lot of shit too. That's why his ass turned up dead. They say he hung himself. He ain't hang his damn self.
Julian is singled out for special treatment for one reason only. He is a truth teller. His case is meant to send a warning to every journalist and every publisher. The kind of warning that has no place in a democracy. I spoke to Julian at the weekend. He'd been just allowed to have his first proper exercise. He was allowed to pace up and down in a small bitumen yard. However, at Belmarsh Prison, they have a sense of humour. On the walls facing the so-called exercise yard are happy, clappy words about the blades of grass beneath your feet. But there's no grass. Julian is locked up for more than 21 hours, sometimes longer. It's 4 months since he was dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy, literally in brutal contravention of international law. It's 4 months, and he is still denied the documents and the basic tools to prepare his case against an outrageous demand for his extradition to the United States, where he faces incarceration and almost certainly torture.
Yeah, he right though.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me pause that right there. The scripture say that in the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 18, it says, just speaking on this because from experience, this shit to have you get monitored. Motherfuckers be popping up. You like, who the fuck is this? Like today on the way here, I seen some guy. You ever see one of them? I'm gonna pull it up just so you can see a picture of it. Let's see. Just on some random shit. Normally I don't even take my phone with me some places, but sometimes I'll take it just to see what I see. I might take some pictures or something. There's a certain headphone these damn devils wear. Got a little squiggly line on the fucking federal agents and shit. These right here. This is exact shit I just seen before I came in. And the guy looked me dead in my damn mind. He looked like a fucking agent too. It was a nigga, but it was a Jake, I should say. He like one of them sellout Jakes. They like one of them dudes they sit in your hood or whatever. If you out there dealing or serving, and they be like, look, go see what you can figure out. Go see what they know. Go see what they do or whatever. It was the same damn headphones. So these devils, they definitely monitor and watch these videos and pay attention to certain people. You know, hey, ain't no fear over here. You damn Amalekites, you damn Edomites. Hey, sing your best whenever you send them. It's like the scripture say, when the enemy should come in like a flood, you should lift up a standard against them. You know what that standard gonna be. They know what that standard gonna be too. But anyway, it says in the book of Matthew chapter 10, verse 18, it says, and he shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. And it goes into it and it says, but when they hand you over, do not worry about how to respond or what to say, and what hour you'll be given and what to say. In that hour you'll be given what to say. And it's another translation to it says, meditate on not what you should say, because he'll give us a mouth that they should not be able to gainsay nor condemn. So they're gonna be asking like, oh, why you into this? Why you into this right now? Why do you call yourself a Jew, a real Jew, and those not the Jew? They're gonna be asking all type of questions because really they want to know like how we know when they hid all this stuff from us. And it's through the spirit. That's how we know. You can't fight the spirit with physical stuff. So they try to do physical stuff like put chemicals in the food, chemicals in the atmosphere to try to dumb people down, weaken people, brainwash people with stuff on TV, all type of different stuff like that. This shit don't work, man. It work on certain people. It don't work on everybody. It definitely don't work on the men that was elected to know this information, to be able to spread this knowledge and help wake people up. They can't do nothing against that. Let me just play a little bit more while I find this other scripture.
He is not allowed today to call his American lawyers. He is not allowed access to vital documents. He is not allowed access to a computer. He is confined in a single cell in the hospital wing where he is isolated most of the time from other people. All this because he infringed a bail order, the merest of offences, and he sought political asylum from the threat to his life that awaited him in Trump's America. When I asked Julian what he'd like me to say today, he was adamant. Say it's not just me. It's much wider. It's all of us. It's all journalists and all publishers who do their job, who are in danger.
Yep, and it's another scripture. It's in the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 11. It says, and when they bring you into the synagogues and to magistrates and powers, take ye no thought how or what thing you should answer or what you should say. Because you have people that be like, oh, if they grab me up, I'm going to do this and that. Hey, it's like a spur of the moment thing, like when you be in certain situations. The Lord will test you out and see how you react to it. But prior to that moment, you don't really prepare like what you're going to do or what's going to happen. You just react through the spirit. Either you're going to pass that test or you're going to fuck up and you learn from it and keep moving. So when this stuff happens, ain't no reason to sit there and try to meditate like, oh, if they grab me up, I'm going to hit them with this scripture. I'm going to hit them with this. Hey, Lord's willing, the spirit hit whoever it's supposed to hit. And the things that be spoke, they ain't going to be able to go against it or whatever. They're going to be wanting to put people to death. Some people they are going to put to death. Some they ain't going to be able to. And that's just how it's going to go like that. I'm going to go to this other video. That's enough of that. I ain't going to play too much of that. Try not to make this too long. But if it go on longer than what it's supposed to go, then it was meant. And I'm going to go back to the news I was looking at on Al Jazeera. And if you ain't really hip to Al Jazeera, check out Al Jazeera News. These news media stations over here like CBS and CNN and all that shit. They don't show no real shit. Most of the time they spin the same stuff over and over again. Political stuff about going to vote and all this bullshit. And the whole time they orchestrate the elections any damn way from behind the scenes. They play them type of games like that. They play with people's emotions and have them think they're doing something when they're really not. Let me go down to it. This was 2 or 3 days ago. And we go into the scripture. Let me go into it. So you should hear wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places, plagues and pestilences and famines. Yeah, this was happening right now, man. The beginning of sorrows. You see, this by a lot of these people in these churches, they're going to turn on these pastors because they ain't been warning about this. That's why the scriptures say, woe unto the pastors that lead my sheep astray, because once some people find out they've been led astray, a lot of them pastors, they're going to go kill them niggas. That's just what's going to go down. Especially if they've been donating money every year. You think about a person paying tithes, they put $5, $10 worth of tithes per person in there. And over a 12-month span, that's a lot of money to add up. If they go into church faithfully, hoping something happens, and they ain't really getting no results, and they just going in there hearing smooth things. It says in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6, it says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Because we're in the end times, but the end ain't happening yet. We still got a few more major things that got to pop out. Is that chip? Once they made that chip mandatory, let me see what I was looking for. There's another scripture I was looking for. It's talking about earthquakes in diverse places. But yeah, once they make that chip mandatory, and once they really start shooting off these missiles, it's about that time we get ready to get up out of here. Now you got over in the Republic, the DRC, I want to say, I forgot exactly what it stands for. I know it's over in Congo. They got the Ebola still breaking out. And it hit over here. They ain't put it in the news too much recently, but somebody was over here. They had that damn Ebola shit recently. And then they just silenced it up a little bit. Now you got videos right here saying Israeli army fires into Lebanon after Hezbollah missile attacks. Hezbollah exchanged fire at Lebanon border, so it's going down over there. And like the scripture said, the least of the flock should bring them out. So I'm trying to find this video where the guy actually talking about that.
On high alert but in protective posture, Israeli forces near Lebanon have been pulled back from their border positions in recent days as they wait for a promised strike by Hezbollah in response to recent Israeli attacks. And now Israel is upping the pressure on both Lebanon and Hezbollah. It's released what it says are details of an Iranian-led program to convert Hezbollah missiles into precision-guided weapons using components brought in by land, sea and air. It's warning Lebanon's government to take action or be held responsible.
We're determined to thwart this dangerous program. The aim of the publication today is to clarify that we will not stand aside and allow our enemies to arm themselves with fatal weaponry. I told them this week, be careful, and I repeat today in Arabic, dir balak.
Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, has denied precision missiles are being manufactured inside Lebanon. He says Israel has in recent days breached the rules of engagement in place since the last war between Israel and Lebanon in 2006.
I say to the Israeli army on the border from tonight, stand guard and wait for us.
He was speaking shortly after 2 drones came down in a Hezbollah stronghold in Beirut, one of them exploding. There have been reports that an important component of Hezbollah's missile system was damaged. The Israeli army has remained silent on the issue. Israel has for years been targeting Iranian interests in Syria. Last weekend it said it prevented a multiple drone attack from inside the country by launching an airstrike that killed 2 Hezbollah fighters there. The United States recently confirmed that Israel was also carrying out airstrikes inside Iraq, targeting Iran's missile supply route there. But the more widespread and more admitted Israel's actions become, the more risk that its adversaries feel compelled to retaliate, risking in turn a broader escalation. That's line Israel's Prime Minister, fighting an election and once again promoting his ability to keep Israelis safe, has long tried not to cross. This week, he told Nasrallah by name to calm down.
I think Netanyahu absolutely does not want military confrontation. I think the call to calm down was, reflected that. On the other hand, I think the feeling, and it's beyond Netanyahu, I think the feeling in Israel is that you cannot have Iran, which is declaredly interested in the demise of Israel, to deepen its military capabilities just across Israel's northern border.
That's another video I was looking at too, to talk about something. Let me see.
3 attacks in 3 countries. Israel is said to have hit targets linked to Iran in Syria, in Lebanon and in Iraq. So why is Benjamin Netanyahu escalating tension with Tehran? Will Iran respond, and if so, how? This is Inside Story.
Like the Palestinians in Gaza, like the people in Lebanon. And in the case of Iraq, when we see that thousands of American troops are in the country, yet they allow drones to strike Iraqi forces that fought ISIS, then obviously the sentiment in Iraq is going to turn further against the United States. Western think tanks and Western media constantly portray the United States and Israel as the protagonist in this story,
And they are. See, and that's biblical prophecy right there. We go into that. That's the part I was looking for too. So you can't make this up, man. You still have people that want to be in denial. Once this stuff really come to fruition, then they're gonna be asking questions. It's gonna be too late to ask shit then. So, hey, the key thing is get as much information as you can. Apply this stuff to your life the best way you can, because you can't do it perfectly. Because you try to apply a lot of biblical stuff to your life. Society, they be trying to lock your ass up. So you gotta do as much as you can, as much as possible. And, repent, ask the Lord for forgiveness, and try to correct your ways and walk a certain way. That way you be on the good side when all this stuff pop off, because hey, once these plagues and all this different stuff, better let me go into the scripture too while I'm pulling this up. Alright, so it's in the book of Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." And if you've been paying attention to the news, there's been earthquakes all over the place. The famines with this food shortage, these storms, they keep wiping out a lot of these crops. So a lot of valuable ingredients are going to certain food, whether it be grains, certain veggies like different lettuce and tomatoes and stuff like that, potatoes, onions, corn, certain crops. It ain't gonna be a surplus of all that stuff like that. The pestilences going around, different diseases. Ebola, one of the main ones. You had the measles, all type of other stuff too. They talking about the bubonic plague out on the West Coast. You already know that's gonna spread. So it's just a matter of time. Stuff just building up all the way into that moment. Now, let me go back into this part right here.
somehow think that the rest of the world automatically assumes the same, whereas the people who are on the ground see things as the exact opposite. So as long as the Israeli regime carries out strikes, then it has to expect a response. And I believe that Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah will definitely retaliate against the Israelis, because he said he will do so. The only thing that prevents the regime in Israel from aggression is the fear of retaliation. If the Israeli regime concludes that they can strike with impunity, then they will do so. But I think that it's very important to keep in mind what your previous said correctly, and that is that the United States does not want to war. Iran doesn't want to war. Iran, of course, has seen the failure of the maximum pressure campaign, despite the hardship that the Americans have been trying to impose on ordinary Iranians, and they have made life difficult for women and children. And I think the Americans.
See, and these people, they don't want a war, but hey, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua want a war though. And I'm going to go into the scripture right here and talk about him pouring out his spirit and the kings of the earth. This is one of them right here. Well, there's multiple ones I can go into. There's definitely one of them I was looking for. It's in the book of Acts chapter 2, verse 17. It says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yahweh, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. It says, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." When it come down to this war though, I'm going to go back to, I want to say it's about the four frogs if I'm mistaken. Double check real quick. And this one on this in the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 13 too. It says, "And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet." And if any of the other, I can, we want to read further into this chapter, because I just want to hit the straight main point on top of the head. You can go further into it, and it'll basically talk about. It says, you go down some more. In verse 14, it said, "These are demonic spirits that perform signs and go out to all the kings of the earth to assemble them for battle on the great day of Yahweh the Almighty." So the Most High put the spirit on these heathens. They really don't want to fight. They don't want to go to war. A lot of these countries, they losing money anyway, so they trying to do stuff to preserve money. They trying to make peace treaties and all that. Once again, you got these spirits that's going out on them that the Lord controls. He controls the right and the left. For people to be like, oh, Satan do this and do that. No, he only do what the Most High allow him to do. So when them spirits go out, that's because he allowed them spirits to go out. And I'm gonna prove that too. Let me go into the scripture. Gotta everything you say about these scriptures, about what's going on, you gotta back it up with these scriptures. Because I was talking to this girl recently about stuff like that. A lot of these pastors, they'll tell people stuff. They don't back it up with no scriptures. They just be in there running their damn mouth. So let me go to it real quick. to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 22, verse 19, it says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. Now, on the right, you got the word righteous that come out of right. Right comes out of righteous, I should say, so like, and on the left, people always consider left, oh, that's the wicked side and all that or whatever, but they right. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, the angels sit all on the right side. Yahweh, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and so on, all the elders and apostles and all that. And on the left side, you got Satan and all them demons sitting on that side, and they up there building their holy communion on what they're doing. I'm gonna go into the scripture even more. And it says, and this was an example right here, what they was trying to do. When you read into this even further, it says, and the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, did I not tell you that he never prophesies good for me, but only bad? Micaiah continued, therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing on his right hand and his left. And the Lord said, who will entice Ahab to march up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one suggested this, and another that. So this is what they do up there. So when people be like, oh, Satan did this and did, no, that's because the Lord allowed him to go do that. They was up there, he suggested, like, hey, I want to go down there and tempt this person, just like how he tempted Job. Say he can go down and touch everything that he have, or don't touch his life or take his life from him. That's what go on. It's going on right now as I speak. But I'm gonna go back into this video. All right, let's play a little bit more.
Americans are probably proud of their actions like they are in Libya and Syria and Yemen and Venezuela and everywhere else, Iraq and Afghanistan, where they created so much devastation. But in the case of Iran, it's failed. The currency has stabilized. Right. It's actually strengthened in the past few months. The economy has leveled out. Right. So the Americans have failed, and that's why they began the new campaign to try to begin taking tankers. But the Iranians do not want to initiate conflict. The Americans know that the Iranians do not want to do so, but the Iranians will not allow the Americans to carry out an attack on the country without facing the consequences, right, and that's why Trump won't do so. All right. But if the Israelis want to learn the hard way, they will.
Seth, coming back to you then, what we've heard is that all players to this potential conflict are unwilling to enter into a conflict. Nobody really wants to fight. But I can't help but think that this is an exceedingly risky policy to pursue on the part of Benjamin Netanyahu. As I said earlier, the risk of there being miscalculation, Mohammed is of the impression that Hezbollah will indeed retaliate. Is this something that the Israeli public, before they get...
See, look, what date this was? I want to say this is 26, if I'm mistaken. This is 26. They just uploaded another video. They just attacked just now. So this stuff growing up, man. You can't make these scriptures up, man. Damn, ain't no white man writing under this shit either. Or they wouldn't have put that in there.
Ready to vote, because I understand that Netanyahu is running neck and neck in this particular race as well. Is this something that is going to secure him the votes that he needs to have a significant victory in the election?
I don't think it removes the election, because I think that the main competitor against Netanyahu, the former chief of staff Benny Gantz and his generals, all share the same consensus in terms of Israel's national security, and all of them are aware. Some of them probably fought against groups like Hezbollah or Islamic Jihad, or these groups that are supported by Iran. They know exactly what the threat is. And look, last year, for instance, in February and May, there was an Iranian drone flown from Syria into Israeli airspace. There was rockets fired near the Golan. So this isn't a question of retaliation. This is an ongoing kind of simmering conflict. And you're right, and there could be, for instance, a miscalculation by one side or another that could spiral out of control. And hopefully that will not happen. And certainly Iran hopefully will understand the message in terms of its allies, in terms of taking Israel seriously.
All right. I'm going to give the final word to you, Sammy, if you could be really brief, please, because we are running out of time. But give us just what you think is the significance of the fact that these weapons depots in Iraq have now been targeted, and many saying that these have been struck by Israeli airstrikes?
I don't think it affects Iran's capabilities much. Iran doesn't just rely on the fact. I mean, Mohammed made a very valid point when he says that Iran governs by ideology. Hassan Nasrallah believes in Iran's ideology. Hadi al-Amiri believes in Iran's ideology. It's not like checks coming out of Riyadh, they give it to Islah or whoever, and then they betray them later on. And this is the issue here. Iran promotes the grassroots movement. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but this is the reason that they have been able to dominate. This is why the Americans launched the Hearts and Minds, because they realized that no matter how much they batter the Shia populations in Iraq or indeed in Syria or the like, it just seemed to make Iran stronger, because Iran seemed to be that resistance in the face of American aggression. The reality is you have two very competing agendas in the region. Israel and Iran, both are detrimental to the region, and both are now trying to fight each other under a simmering conflict without it going into an all-out war. None of them want an all-out war. Everybody wants the U.S. to do the fighting, but the U.S. is refusing to...
You see, but they are going to do the fighting. And that's why the scripture right here says, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 45, it said, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he hath taken against Babylon and his purposes, that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." So they can say, "Oh, we don't want to fight. We don't want to do all this stuff." It's going down, man. They ain't got them nukes just to put in no museums. They over
On
there for
high
a reason.
alert but in protective posture, Israeli forces.
That's why, like I was telling this other guy the other night, like, "Hey man, get yourself together, because what's about to happen to this place? What side you want to be on?" He tried to play stupid, but he knew the hell I was talking about. The niggas think shit a joke. That's our people too. They wait to the last minute. I used to be in a bad habit of that too when I was younger. I wait to the last minute and try to fix shit up. When really, if you got warning and you could do it ahead of time, do it ahead of time. Don't wait till the last damn minute. So let me go to this other video real quick. I'm gonna just end this off on this. I want to say it was on RT News. I went to Al Jazeera. RT News definitely have a lot of valuable stuff on it too. So this was going on, man. You can't make this shit up. They say they was going to attack, and look, literally days later.
بنداء يا بقية الله، ينطلق الصاروخ الأول من طراز كورنت نحو الهدف، ومن نقطة رماية أخرى صاروخ ثان لتأكيد تدمير الهدف.
So hey, this ain't no joke. This ain't no game. This ain't made up. This ain't nobody using no emotions. Other Akim bringing this stuff out too. You know, so stay alert, stay vigilant. Like the scripture say in the book of Peter, knowing that these things will all be dissolved. What manner of person you ought to be in, and how you should be carrying yourself, what you should be doing. And Lord's willing, it's edifying. Call all y'all by Shem Yahweh. Shalom to the elect.